There's something almost magnetic about a tattooed woman. You see her across the room, and without even exchanging a word, she already feels like a story. Her skin isn't just skin, it's a canvas filled with symbols, patterns, maybe even scars disguised as art. And in that moment, curiosity grabs you. You start wondering, who is she? What do those tattoos mean? What has she been through? And just like that, without her even trying, she has your attention. That allure, that sense of mystery, is what makes tattooed women so attractive to so many men. It feels like stepping into another world. She doesn't fit the mold, and that makes her seem different from everyone else you've met. Where other people seem predictable, she feels unpredictable. Where others seem safe, she feels dangerous. And we're drawn to danger? That spark of the unknown is exciting. It makes you feel alive. For a lot of men, dating a tattooed woman feels like dating a story they've never read before. Every design on her body feels like a chapter, a secret only she knows. You want to decode it. You want to understand her. You want to be the one who uncovers what no one else has. But here's where the danger hides. Mystery is intoxicating, but it can also be blinding. When you're captivated by the surface, you stop asking deeper questions. You convince yourself that because she's different, she must also be deeper, wiser, more passionate. The truth, sometimes the tattoos are just tattoos. Sometimes the mystery you see isn't real. It's a projection of what you want her to be. You see meaning where maybe there isn't any. You mistake attention for authenticity. And in that haze, you overlook warning signs that you would never ignore in someone else. Think about it, if a woman without tattoos constantly talked about needing excitement, needing drama, needing to feel alive every second, you'd probably be cautious. But when a tattooed woman radiates that same energy, you romanticize it. You tell yourself, she's just creative. She's just free-spirited. You see it as passion instead of instability. That's the power of mystery. It disguises flaws as features. It makes rebellion look like confidence, and it makes impulsiveness look like courage. The danger is not in admiring her, but in failing to see her clearly. Mystery draws you in, but relationships don't survive on mystery. They survive on clarity, on trust, stability, shared values, and consistent action. And if you're basing your attraction only on the fact that she feels different, you're building on quicksand. That kind of attraction burns bright but fades fast. The same excitement that pulled you in eventually becomes the very chaos that pushes you away. The truth is, men often mistake mystery for depth. A tattooed woman might appear to have layers, but sometimes those layers are just decoration, not substance. You think you're peeling back the pages of a novel, when in reality you're just looking at the cover. And that's not to insult her, it's to remind you that your fascination can blind you to reality. You have to ask yourself, am I in love with who she is? Or am I in love with the idea of her? That's the trap of allure. The mystery feels endless, but it's not. Once the curiosity fades, once the novelty wears off, what's left? If there's no shared vision, no emotional maturity, no commitment, then you'll realize that all along, you weren't dating a person. You were dating an image. And images can't love you back. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying tattoos are bad or that a tattooed woman can't be amazing. What I'm saying is that the pull of mystery is often stronger than your ability to see the truth. It makes you believe you found someone extraordinary, when in reality you've just found someone who knows how to stand out. And standing out doesn't mean she's the right one for you. So before you get lost in the stories you think her tattoos tell, slow down, look beyond the ink. Ask yourself what patterns of behavior you see. Does she make choices based on impulse or intention? Does she value commitment, or does she thrive on rebellion? Is she really as deep as you imagine, or are you filling in the blanks with your own desires? Because mystery can draw you in, but mystery alone can't hold you together. The allure of a tattooed woman is real, it's powerful, it's exciting, it's magnetic. But excitement without stability is just chaos in disguise. And if you build your relationship on that alone, the very mystery that attracted you will eventually be the same thing that leaves you feeling lost. Attention is one of the strongest currencies in our modern world, and tattoos often serve as a billboard for it. Think about it, say, when a woman covers herself in bold designs, she's not just decorating her skin, she's broadcasting a message. She's saying, look at me, notice me, I'm not like everyone else. And on the surface, that confidence looks attractive. You tell yourself, wow, she's bold, she's unafraid to be seen. But what's beneath that? Because if you peel away the outer layer, you may find that it's not confidence fueling those choices, but a constant hunger for validation. When someone lives for attention, it creates a cycle that no relationship can fully satisfy. In the beginning, she might love your praise. She might love that you're fascinated by her tattoos, that you compliment her uniqueness, that you make her feel special. But over time, the power of your words fades. Your admiration becomes expected, not extraordinary. And that's when the hunger for attention turns outward. If her self-worth depends on being noticed, then one man's approval will never be enough. She'll need more likes on social media, more comments from strangers, more glances from men passing by. And suddenly, you realize you're in a competition you never signed up for. This isn't about being jealous or insecure. It's about recognizing the kind of energy you're attaching yourself to. Because attention seeking doesn't stop at tattoos. It spills into her lifestyle. Maybe she posts constantly online, always showing off new pictures to keep people talking. Maybe she surrounds herself with drama because drama guarantees eyes on her. Maybe she exaggerates her struggles or her pain, not to heal, but to gain sympathy, and you're left wondering, is this real connection, or am I just another part of her audience? What makes it dangerous is how subtle it can feel at first. You might mistake her desire for attention as charisma, as charm, as a vibrant personality. And yes, she might be fun, she might be exciting, she might light up every room she walks into, but the light is never steady. It flickers because it depends on who's watching. And when it flickers, it can leave you in the dark. A relationship built with someone who craves constant validation will test you in ways you don't expect. You'll give your best, but it won't feel like enough. You'll pour your love, but it will slip through the cracks of her insecurity. And the worst part, you'll start to doubt yourself. You'll start thinking, maybe I'm not doing enough, maybe I'm not good enough, but it's not about you. It's about her never-ending chase for recognition. And let's be honest, that chase is exhausting. Imagine living with someone who constantly needs reassurance, who constantly measures their worth by the reactions they get from others. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. No matter how much love you pour in, it keeps leaking out. You'll burn yourself out trying to meet a need that cannot be met by one person, or maybe by anyone at all. Now, does that mean every tattooed woman is like this?
No.
But it does mean you need to pay attention to the signs. Is she grounded in who she is, or is she addicted to how people see her? Does she need attention, or does she simply enjoy expression? Those are very different things. A healthy partner expresses themselves because it reflects who they are. An unhealthy partner expresses themselves because they're starving for recognition. And that difference will define your future with her. What most men don't realize is that attention-driven people often confuse love with admiration. To them, if you admire them, you love them. If you stop admiring, they assume you've stopped loving. And that's a dangerous mindset because real love isn't about applause. Real love is about presence, about consistency, about intimacy that no audience ever sees. If she doesn't understand that, then your relationship will always feel like a performance, not a partnership. At the end of the day, the danger of an attention-driven personality isn't just that she wants eyes on her. It's that you'll constantly feel unseen. You'll give, but she'll still look for more. You'll try to build a life, but she'll try to build a stage. And sooner or later, you'll realize that the spotlight you thought was shining on your relationship was really only ever meant for her. That's why the second danger is so critical to understand. Tattoos may look like art, but sometimes they're really a mirror reflecting back a deep need, the need to be noticed. And if that need is stronger than the desire to truly connect, then no amount of love, commitment, or loyalty will ever be enough to hold her attention in return. Impulsiveness is one of those qualities that looks thrilling at first but becomes destructive over time. When you meet a tattooed woman, it's easy to admire her boldness. She walks into a tattoo parlor, points at an image, and says, "Put it on me forever." There's something daring about that. It feels fearless, alive, unshaken by hesitation. And in that moment, you admire it. You might even wish you could be that bold. But here's the truth, the way someone treats their skin often reflects the way they treat life. A decision carved into the body in minutes may be the same kind of decision made in relationships, finances, or commitments. If the ink is impulsive, chances are, so are the choices behind the scenes. At first, impulsiveness feels exciting. You never know what's going to happen next. She's the kind of woman who might say, "Pack a bag, we're going on a road trip tonight," and that unpredictability sweeps you off your feet. But excitement can disguise instability. The same woman who surprises you with spontaneous adventures may also surprise you with sudden emotional outbursts, sudden changes of heart, or sudden exits when things don't feel thrilling anymore. And then you realize impulsiveness isn't just about fun, it's about unpredictability in every part of life. Consider what tattoos really represent. They are permanent decisions often made in temporary moods. Think about the millions of people who regret their tattoos later in life. What does that say? It says that a moment of adrenaline, rebellion, or desire for expression turned into a lifetime of consequences. And that's exactly how impulsiveness works in relationships. She might say yes to love quickly, but the same impulse that brought her close can just as easily push her away. When someone doesn't think about consequences deeply, loyalty becomes fragile. A fight, a disagreement, or a moment of boredom can trigger the same impulse to escape as easily as she once ran toward you. The danger of dating someone who thrives on impulse is that you never get stability. You're standing on shifting ground, always guessing what tomorrow might bring. Today, she might be madly in love with you. Tomorrow, she might question if you're really the one. Next week, she might change careers, cities, or goals without a second thought. And if you're trying to build a life with her, that constant change becomes chaos. You can't build a stable house on an unstable foundation. Now, let's go deeper. Impulsiveness isn't just about choices, it's about mindset. A person who seeks immediate satisfaction often struggles with patience, discipline, and foresight. And those three qualities are the backbone of any lasting relationship. Love requires patience when things get hard. It requires discipline when temptation shows up. It requires foresight to plan a future together, to work toward shared goals, to sacrifice in the present for something greater tomorrow. If her pattern is to chase whatever feels good now, how do you expect her to endure when love requires effort? And it's not only about romance, it spills into every aspect of life. Think about finances. If she's impulsive, money will slip through her hands. Shopping sprees, sudden investments, or reckless spending might drain the stability you're trying to build together. Think about friendships. Impulsive people often burn bridges quickly because they speak before they think, act before they reflect, and regret it later when the damage is already done. Think about health. Impulsive behavior often leads to reckless habits, drinking, partying, risky choices that feel good in the moment but carry heavy consequences later. You see, impulsiveness is like living in a storm. At first, it's exhilarating, the lightning, the thunder, the rush of adrenaline. But if you live inside that storm long enough, it wears you down. You start craving calm skies, predictable days, and steady ground. And that's when the illusion breaks. You realize the same quality that once drew you and now leaves you drained. What felt like adventure now feels like instability. What felt like boldness now feels like recklessness. And what felt like freedom now feels like chaos. But here's the trick. Impulsiveness often hides behind the mask of passion. She'll say, "I just follow my heart. I live in the moment." And on the surface, it sounds romantic. Who doesn't want to live in the moment? But living only in the moment means ignoring the weight of tomorrow. It means making decisions today that your future self will regret. And if she can't balance passion with wisdom, the relationship becomes a roller coaster without brakes. Thrilling, yes, but also dangerous. The truth is, impulsiveness doesn't just affect her, it affects you. Because you'll start adapting to her unpredictability. You'll start sacrificing your own stability to accommodate hers. You'll walk on eggshells, never sure what mood she'll be in or what decision she'll make next. And over time, that stress erodes your peace, your confidence, and even your sense of self. You may wake up one day realizing you're living her life, not yours. You're trapped in her whirlwind, always reacting, never leading. This is the hidden danger most men ignore. They confuse impulsiveness with excitement, not realizing that excitement fades but consequences last. The tattoo that looked beautiful in the shop may look out of place years later. The relationship that felt intoxicating in the beginning may feel unbearable when the pattern of rash decisions finally catches up. And just like a tattoo that cannot be easily erased, the damage of impulsiveness leaves scars on your life. So before you get swept away by the thrill of spontaneity, pause. Ask yourself, is this boldness or recklessness? Is this passion or a lack of control? Because while an impulsive decision might make for a great story, it rarely makes for a great future. And if you're not careful, the price of her impulsiveness won't just be written on her skin. It'll be written all over your life. Commitment is one of the hardest tests in any relationship because it demands consistency when the excitement wears off. And when you look at a tattooed woman, you often see someone who thrives on rebellion, someone who pushes against rules, tradition, and structure. That can feel attractive at first. It looks like freedom, like independence, like strength. But here's the truth, the same energy that makes her resist authority may also make her resist commitment. Because commitment, at its core, requires stability, compromise, and a willingness to live inside boundaries. And if her entire identity is built on rejecting boundaries, you need to pay attention. Rebellion has a way of sneaking into relationships. It doesn't always look like betrayal. It often looks like resistance. Resistance to being defined as a partner, resistance to being dependable, resistance to giving up the wild energy that makes her feel unique. She might love you today. She might even say she wants forever. But the moment forever starts to feel like a cage, the rebellion in her wakes up. And when that rebellion wakes up, you'll feel it in her words, her actions, her distance. The thing about tattoos is they often symbolize moments of defiance against parents, against society, against expectations. That spirit of defiance doesn't always stop at the skin. It becomes part of how she navigates life. If authority told her not to get inked, she did it anyway. If society judged, she wore it proudly. That mindset might sound admirable. It shows courage, it shows individuality. But it also reveals something deeper, a heart that struggles to submit to structure. And no matter how romantic love feels, every relationship has structure. There are expectations, responsibilities, and agreements that keep it alive. If she resists that, then the love you build together won't feel like a partnership. It will feel like a battlefield. Now think about what commitment really is. It's not just saying yes once. It's saying yes every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing to stay when leaving feels easier. It's choosing to work through conflict instead of running from it. It's choosing to invest in the long term instead of chasing the thrill of the moment. And that's where the danger lies. If her pattern is rebellion, Then when your relationship asks for patience, sacrifice, or compromise, her instinct may be to fight, to escape, or to resist. Not because she doesn't care, but because commitment feels like chains to someone who worships freedom above all else. This becomes clearer over time. At the start, she might seem fully invested, all in, passionate, and devoted. But as the months pass and the relationship asks for consistency, the cracks start to show. Maybe she avoids talking about the future. Maybe she changes her mind frequently about what she wants. Maybe she hesitates to label the relationship, to take the next step, to merge her life with yours in deeper ways. Those are not just quirks, they're red flags. They signal a deeper resistance to the kind of commitment required for love to last. And here's the dangerous part. You might mistake that resistance for independence. You might tell yourself, she's just strong-willed. She's just her own person. And yes, that may be true, but strength without reliability is chaos. Independence without accountability is isolation. And passion without commitment is just a firework, bright for a moment, gone the next. If you ignore these signs, you'll find yourself pouring into someone who only gives back when it's convenient. Commitment is also tested in hardship. When stress hits, when finances get tight, when life throws challenges, that's when you see whether someone is built for partnership. A woman who thrives on rebellion may find those moments suffocating. Instead of leaning in, she pulls away. Instead of fighting with you, she fights against you. Instead of growing stronger together, she starts imagining escape. And when you need stability most, you'll find yourself standing alone. Another hidden danger is that her rebellion may not just be against tradition. It might eventually turn against you. Because once the relationship begins to represent responsibility, structure, or expectations, you become the authority she resists. Your needs start to feel like rules. Your requests start to feel like restrictions. And in her eyes, loving you starts to feel like losing herself. That's when love shifts into resentment, and resentment is poison. It's important to understand that commitment doesn't destroy individuality. True commitment actually gives freedom. It creates a safe place where love can grow without fear. But if someone equates commitment with control, they will always feel torn. They will always feel like they're losing a part of themselves by choosing you. And you can't build a lasting relationship with someone who sees loyalty as a sacrifice instead of a gift. This is why so many men fall into heartbreak. They confuse passion for permanence. They assume that because she feels deeply today, she'll stay tomorrow. But passion without discipline burns out. Rebellion without transformation always finds a new target. And if you don't pay attention, that target will be your relationship. The danger of dating a woman who carries the spirit of rebellion is not that she doesn't love. It's that her love may never outlast her need to feel free. And if freedom means running from stability, then her commitment will always be fragile. You'll be left holding on tighter while she keeps slipping away. And the tighter you hold, the more she'll resist. Until one day, the love you thought was forever vanishes, not because it wasn't real, but because rebellion was stronger than loyalty. So the question you must ask yourself is this: am I drawn to her because she feels alive or because she feels reliable? Because when life tests you, reliability will matter far more than rebellion. And if she cannot commit to stability, then no matter how much passion she gives, it will never be enough to build something that lasts. Every relationship exists inside a larger circle. It's not just you and her. It's your friends, your family, your community, your workplace, and even the strangers who see you together. Whether we like it or not, perception matters. And when you're dating a tattooed woman, those perceptions can shift the way people treat you, the way they treat her, and the way your future unfolds. At first, you may tell yourself that none of that matters, that love is between two people only. But the longer you're with her, the more you'll realize that the world outside your relationship can impact the world inside it. Families, for example, carry expectations. Maybe your parents dreamed of you marrying someone polished, conservative, or traditional. They meet her, and instead of seeing her personality, they see her tattoos first. They make judgments before hearing her story. You may defend her, and maybe they'll soften with time, but those first impressions can plant seeds of conflict. Suddenly, holidays feel tense. Conversations feel heavy. You're torn between the woman you love and the family that raised you. And while love should conquer all, the truth is family opinions carry weight. Whether you admit it or not, it's not just family, it's society at large. Walk into a restaurant with a heavily tattooed woman, and people notice, some admire, some judge, some stereotype. In many cultures, tattoos are still linked with rebellion, crime, or instability. Even if those assumptions are unfair, they exist. And living under constant judgment can put pressure on your relationship. She may grow defensive. You may grow tired of always explaining or justifying. And slowly, that outside noise starts to seep into your connection, creating stress where there shouldn't be any. Work environments can also be affected. If you're in a career that values image, business, law, medicine, leadership, bringing a partner who visibly challenges societal norms may cause whispers. People may not say it outright, but they make silent calculations about you based on her appearance. They question your judgment, your professionalism, your choices. Again, it's not fair, but perception doesn't ask for fairness, it just exists. And if you think that won't affect your opportunities, think again. Humans are influenced by the images they see, and those images shape their trust in you. Now let's talk about friends. In every circle of friends, there are silent comparisons. Your friend brings his polished girlfriend to dinner, another brings a sweet, conservative woman, and then you walk in with someone covered in tattoos. She stands out. Some might admire her, but others will whisper doubts. They'll ask questions when you're not around. Is she stable? Is she serious? Is she the right one for him? Over time, those whispers reach you in subtle ways, through jokes, through hesitation, through the absence of support when you need it most. And even if you defend her, those doubts take a toll. This isn't about blaming her or condemning tattoos. It's about recognizing the weight of perception. Humans are social creatures. We care what others think, not because we're weak, but because acceptance is tied to survival and belonging. And when you partner with someone who carries visible marks that trigger judgment, you take on those judgments as well. If you're not prepared, resentment can grow. You might start feeling like she complicates your life, that her image creates unnecessary battles. And once the thought enters your mind, it's hard to shake. The deeper danger is that she may internalize these judgments too. She may act tougher, louder, more rebellious in response to criticism. Or she may feel isolated, misunderstood, never truly accepted by the people closest to you. Either way, the weight of rejection can harden her heart. She may start resenting your family, your friends, even you if she feels you don't defend her enough, and what began as outside pressure becomes inside conflict. It's also worth asking yourself, are you strong enough to stand with her when the world doesn't approve? Because if you're not, the disapproval will slowly erode your bond. Many men start relationships thinking they don't care what anyone else thinks, but when the stares pile up, when family resists, when coworkers whisper, that confidence cracks. And if your love isn't strong enough to withstand all of that, it will collapse under the weight of other people's opinions. So the question isn't just, do you love her? The question is, are you prepared to carry everything that comes with her? Because tattoos aren't just ink on her skin. They're triggers for judgments, biases, and stereotypes that follow her everywhere. And when you're with her, they follow you too. If you don't prepare yourself for that reality, you'll find yourself frustrated, bitter, and maybe even regretful, not because of who she is, but because of how the world reacts to her. At the end of the day, every relationship is tested not only by what happens inside the home, but also by what happens outside it. Society, family, friends, careers, all of these create pressure. And if your relationship can't withstand that pressure, it breaks. Love isn't just about how you feel with her. It's about how you stand with her when others don't. If you're not ready to fight those battles, then you need to think carefully before stepping into them. Because perception may not define the truth, but it does shape the reality you'll both have to live with every single day. Compatibility is one of those things that doesn't always show up at the beginning of a relationship. In the early stages, attraction blinds you, excitement covers the cracks, and passion convinces you that everything will work out. But as time passes, as the fire cools and daily life takes over, compatibility, or the lack of it, becomes impossible to ignore. And when it comes to dating a tattooed woman, the greatest danger is not the tattoos themselves, but the mindset and lifestyle they often represent. That's where long-term risks start to reveal themselves. A relationship that begins with thrill must eventually survive on stability. The adrenaline of mystery, rebellion, and impulsiveness feels powerful in the short term, but real life demands more than adrenaline. Bills need to be paid. Goals need to be built, children. If you choose to have them, needs structure, security, and guidance. And if your partner thrives on chaos, unpredictability, and constant change, what begins as excitement quickly turns into exhaustion. The very traits that once made her stand out will become the very traits that make her difficult to build with. Consider what happens when a woman is addicted to constant reinvention. Today she wants to live in one city, tomorrow another. Today she's passionate about one career. Tomorrow she abandons it for a new dream. Today she's deeply in love. Tomorrow she questions whether she's meant for commitment at all. That constant shift may feel adventurous, but long-term it creates instability. And if you're someone who craves growth, order, and a reliable foundation, you'll feel like you're running in circles, always chasing after stability that never comes. Another risk is values. Tattoos often represent rebellion, self-expression, or independence. None of those are bad on their own, but ask yourself what happens when those values clash with yours. If you believe in tradition, structure, and building a steady future, and she believes in living moment by moment, that's not just a small difference, it's a collision course. In the short run, differences feel exciting. They challenge you, they keep you on your toes. But over time, those differences don't disappear, they grow into daily conflicts. You'll want consistency, she'll want change. You'll want clarity, she'll thrive in uncertainty. And no matter how much you love her, those mismatched values will feel like pulling in opposite directions. Long-term compatibility is also about emotional maturity. When difficulties come, and they always do, you need a partner who can regulate emotions, who can face problems with patience and wisdom. But if her pattern is impulsive decisions, rebellious responses, or seeking validation outside the relationship, those patterns will show up when you face hardship together. Instead of solving problems as a team, she may shut down, lash out, or look for escape. And that's when you realize that passion doesn't equal maturity. Ink doesn't equal strength, and attraction doesn't equal compatibility. The hardest part is how slowly these truths unfold. In the beginning, you might ignore small red flags because the attraction is too strong. You tell yourself you'll work through it. You believe love will be enough to fix it. But love is not enough when values don't align, when stability is missing, when the future is pulling you in two different directions. Slowly, you'll feel the cracks widening. Small arguments become big arguments. Dreams you thought were shared start drifting apart. And the energy you once used to celebrate your love gets drained by constant conflict. Even deeper than this is the emotional toll of trying to force compatibility. When you're with someone who doesn't naturally align with your vision, you begin to compromise pieces of yourself. You lower your standards, you silence your needs, you shrink your vision of the future just to keep the relationship alive. But every time you compromise beyond reason, resentment grows. And resentment is like rust. It eats away quietly, slowly, until one day the entire structure collapses. By then, years may have passed, and you're left wondering how much of your life you gave away to someone who was never truly aligned with you in the first place. Another hidden risk is family and legacy. If you want children, or even just a stable household, you need a partner who values structure and responsibility. But if her mindset is rooted in rebellion, if her actions are fueled by impulse, if her self-worth still depends on attention from the outside world, that instability won't just affect you. It will affect everything you try to build together. Children don't thrive in chaos. Legacies don't grow in soil that keeps shifting. And no matter how strong you are, you can't carry the weight of stability for two people forever. That's why long-term compatibility matters more than short-term thrill. Because tattoos fade, beauty fades, excitement fades, but values, habits, and character remain. You need to ask yourself, is she someone I can grow with, or just someone I can burn with for a season? Because if it's the latter, then the fire will eventually consume you both. In the end, the danger isn't that a tattooed woman can't love. The danger is that her patterns, her mindset, and her lifestyle may not align with the long-term foundation you need. And love without alignment is like building a house on sand. No matter how beautiful it looks, the first storm will bring it crashing down. If you ignore that truth, you may spend years trying to make something last that was never built to endure. So when you look at her, don't just see the ink, the excitement, the rebellion. Ask yourself, can I truly build with her? Can I see a future where our values, goals, and stability align? Because if the answer is no, then no matter how strong the attraction feels, the relationship is already on borrowed time. And sooner or later, that time will run out. At the end of the day, tattoos are just ink on skin, but what they often symbolize goes much deeper than art. They can reveal patterns of impulsiveness, cries for attention, rebellion against tradition, or a craving for validation. And while none of these things make a woman inherently bad, they do create hidden dangers when it comes to building a serious, long-term relationship. Attraction might pull you in, mystery might excite you, passion might blind you. But relationships don't survive on passion alone. They survive on stability, alignment, and shared values. The dangers of dating a tattooed woman are not about the tattoos themselves. They're about what they represent beneath the surface. The chase for excitement can lead to instability. The thirst for attention can drain your love. The rebellion against norms can sabotage commitment. And the constant need for change can make long-term compatibility almost impossible. Love isn't just about how someone makes you feel in the moment. It's about whether they can walk with you through seasons, storms, and growth. If the patterns don't align, then no amount of attraction can fix the foundation. Tattoos may fade with time, but the consequences of ignoring red flags never do. So here's the truth. Don't just fall for the ink, the edge, or the thrill. Look deeper. Look at her choices, her values, her stability, and her maturity. Ask yourself, is this someone I can build with, or just someone I can burn with for a season? Because if it's only fire without foundation, sooner or later, the flames will burn out and leave nothing but ashes. The real danger isn't falling for her. It's staying blind to the patterns that could cost you years of your life, your peace, and your future. Don't mistake excitement for alignment. Don't confuse attraction with compatibility. Choose wisely, because who you date today becomes the story you live tomorrow.